Okay, so here's how to actually get rich in like the next 5 years, kind of possible in like 3 years, but we're gonna go with the theme of 5 years. You're gonna hear me talk about that a lot inside of this community. So again, super short backstory. I got interested in online business in 2019. I think in the spring of 2019. And again, it's not until, I guess the first time I made a pretty decent amount of money was 2022. Checked off a lot of like the dream stuff in 2023, like dream apartment in 2023. I got a nice watch in 2023, and then 2024, I've kind of like checked all the boxes. Like I just got my dream car a few days ago. So I kind of feel like I've done almost everything now, and I do well for myself. And it's taken 5 years, and there are a lot of places that I messed up where it could have been done faster. But if you reverse engineer it, there is a sort of formula that I followed, and then when I also look at all of my friends that have also become, decently wealthy in the last 3 to 5 years, they all followed something similar as well. So I'm gonna break that down for you guys in this. No fancy editing or anything. I'm literally shooting this on a tripod with my phone, but we're gonna talk about how you guys can actually get successful. And so basically, you guys might have heard me talk about this before, but there's 4 pillars, in my opinion, to building wealth. So the very first one, and the most important one that everyone has to start with, is skills. Like, we need to acquire skill sets, and we can't just be good at them. It's really not enough anymore. Like, you guys see how fast these markets get competitive. Like, when I started off in sales, or as like a closer, as people call it now, in 2020, there was like no competition. No one was a closer. So it was super easy for me to get clients because it wasn't even like a thing yet. I was one of the very first people like kind of like do that as like a side hustle. It was very, very easy to get clients because it was not competitive at all. And then now it's super, super competitive to where now if you want any shot at getting any reasonably good role, you actually need to be a top 1% closer with a large resume that proves that, or you need to have the best referral of your life to get the foot in the door, okay? So we need to get a skill set, and we need to actually become top 1% at this skill set over a couple years, and we need to become a go-to guy for something. Like when I was running Closify, I was the go-to guy to hire sales reps from. There was not a bigger recruitment company that I can think of for hiring sales reps outside of Colt Gordon. Okay, so you need to get really, really good at something, and we'll come back to this. And so the second thing is capital. And so that is the ability to use money to go out and make more money. So this is hiring talent, hiring, obviously to put out content like this, hiring editors, buying camera equipment. This is your investing, whether it's, investing in the S&P, whether it's starting to buy real estate. This is just, once you have a certain amount of capital, you can actually start to put it to work to go out and bring you in even more money, right? So that becomes important at a part. And it kind of changes. It starts off being where, and you've probably heard Hormozi talk about, so you're starting off, all the capital that you start to make from your skill should go back into either learning new skills or getting better at your current skill. And then later on, when you're kind of like really good, it's more like you can use your capital to get you into the right rooms. You can start putting in the stock market, start buying real estate, stuff like this. Okay. The third thing is an audience. Everyone should be building an audience online in 2024. If you guys didn't see, like, it changed my life in 2023. Like, I was a nobody on the internet from 2019 to the beginning of 2023. Almost no one knew who I was. The only platform I put content out on was Twitter. And then I went from 0 to 100K in 95 days, and a bunch of new businesses and opportunities have spun off from it. And that's why you guys are seeing this video in the Discord right now, is because you saw some piece of content online from me, okay? And at the time that I woke up this morning, like the first 24 hours, we got 1,400 people in it, right? So you need to be putting out content online. You don't need a fancy editor. I have friends like Mason and Ben, they just do selfie iPhone videos and they blow up without any fancy editing equipment, anything. So don't think that you need that. You should be doing all platforms. You should do 1 short a day, so that's gonna go on YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and TikTok. Try to do 1 YouTube video a week. One YouTube video a week is difficult though. If you can get 2 a month in once every other week, it's really good. And then guys, LinkedIn is slept on, and LinkedIn and Twitter or X, like you can repurpose between those platforms. So you should definitely be doing that as well, and it allows you to practice writing, kind of like your long form copy. So you should build an audience. And then the fourth one that compounds off of building an audience and everything else is your network. And I talk about this a lot, like you can use skills to grow your network. Like if there's someone, this is very common with like videographers. Videographers often have an amazing network because they have like an in-demand skill where they can offer, hey, I'll make you some free videos, or I'll come fly out to you and follow you around for a few days. And so you can use your skill to grow your network. And then once you have capital, you can use capital to grow your network, whether it's going to events, whether it's buying into masterminds, programs, whatever it may be. Use your capital to grow your network. And then your audience obviously grows your network, tremendously. I've had some really, really wealthy people reach out to me from my content and wanting to learn from me about how to do the content game. So your audience is obviously going to grow your network, and then once you start to have a little bit of a network, people that you're close to, they introduce you to their buddies, so on and so forth. And so, point being, these 4 things, it takes 3 to 5 years for those 4 things to compound and build off of each other enough to basically be at a point where you were like, I'm good. So someone asked me, they're like, when did you feel like you made it or you felt like financially free? And it wasn't really like at a revenue amount or like a monthly revenue amount or a cash in the bank amount, because having 6, 12 months of living expenses in the bank feels good. It is not everything. When I felt really good was honestly once I had everything that I just talked about, because I like to think in worst case scenarios. And I'm like, what if I actually lost it all somehow? Like all of a sudden, like businesses went to zero or something. I blew through all my money, or I lost my money. Like, what would I do? And I'm like, okay, like now, like what skills do I have? I'm like, okay, well, I'm really good at sales, like both outbound, cold email, LinkedIn, cold calling, and also like closing over the phone. So I've got that. I'm really good at making content, and basically writing short form hooks that are going to convert. I'm really good at storytelling, kind of like on YouTube, and even like copywriting. Like when I'm writing my emails perform really well. So I'm like, okay, I got sales, content creation / ideation. I got copywriting. So those are some really good skills that I have. I have, building the sales team, managing the sales team. And so these are like, I'm like, okay, like any of these skills, I could go out, pick up the phone, or, start DMing people and offering these skills and selling it for, thousands of dollars. So I was like, okay, I kind of like have that. And then I have capital, but again, in this situation, we're kind of saying like I lost my capital. But obviously, like, right now, if I wanted to, I could, use my capital and I could go, like, just deploy it or do whatever. But in this scenario, we're saying I lost my capital. I have my audience, so 150K on Instagram. I have 33K on YouTube, 6,000-ish on TikTok, 16,000 on X, 4,500 on LinkedIn, and then I've got like another 35,000 on my email list, and now like 1,500 people and growing in Discord. And so it's like, if I was ever really in a pinch where I needed money, it is like, you just go and you just hit up on every social platform, you put call to actions to a call booking to sell them a service, landing page of funnels, sell them a product, digital product, subscription. You tell your audience, hey, I need a job ASAP, someone hooks you up with a job. Like there is, like that is like the safety net, and also then I have the network. I have all these people that I know that make tons and tons of money, that if I was in a pinch and I said, hey, you know me, you know what I can do, I have XYZ skill, I really, really need a paid position for a little bit, like there, I could find someone. So that was when I, actually felt wealthy, was when I was like, hey, I know for a fact, like deep inside me, like everything could go wrong and everything could blow up. And tomorrow I could still wake up and have peace of mind knowing that I can get everything back. So that was when I felt like I had made it. So how you guys can do the same is we're gonna go back now. Like I said, you have to start with a skill. And so it's really important what skill that you pick, because it has to be in demand, it has to be evergreen, meaning it's not going away anytime soon. And it needs to be something that you can learn in a decent time frame. In this case, if we're trying to do it in 3 to 5 years. If you're okay with a longer time horizon, then obviously you don't have to. So the skills that come to mind for me is, yes, I still, copywriting is an amazing skill. I'll still recommend it. It is very hard to get clients right now, in the sense of like, everyone DMs me the same script 100 times a day. It's still an amazing skill. So copywriting is still great. Closing is still great. It's just the same. It's difficult to get clients right now because it's gotten so flooded. But it's still an amazing skill to learn. There's great money to be made there. It's where I started. Now, where I think it gets more interesting, because it's kind of like when I started in sales in 2020 and there was no one really doing it, so it was easy to get clients. I kind of think this is the same with no-code development. And this is really on like all platforms, Bubble, Flutterflow. I think with the automations, Make, Zapier, Softer, Glide. I really think if you can get really good at any of these skills and put together a cool portfolio, like, you are going to be set, because there's so many ways to get clients for these. And so there is content marketing, making content that is similar to mine. Obviously don't rip my videos, but to get clients. There is outbound. So this is your cold DM people on Instagram, on LinkedIn, but then also you can do cold emails for this. If you're gonna do cold email, you're gonna wanna have like a standardized offer. So let's say you're doing cold email and you're gonna target agency owners, and your offer is basically, hey, we will build you out a custom client dashboard for your clients for $5,000. Like, that's an offer that you can scale on cold email because it's standardized. If you're doing it like product-based, where like every single person you work with, it's like a different project and like different pricing, it's harder to do cold email because it's not standardized. But if you're gonna do a standardized offer, you can scale that on cold email. You can scale that out with LinkedIn outbound, building a sales team. You can go on all these hiring platforms and just apply for all the jobs on there, on Upwork, on Fiverr, on some of these like niche hiring boards for no-code developers. You can go in Facebook groups. Like, trust me, getting clients is not going to be the problem for you, especially if you're doing no-code development. So that's a really amazing skill. You know, there's this big wave of growth operator, of helping creators monetize. I think it's a good idea, not in the way that it's being taught. No one in their right mind is going to give up like 50% of their business for some kid and make them like a school group. But what I think is a better idea is, honestly, if you learn how to do these no-code platforms, like offer to build a software company for these creators that are struggling to monetize, let alone build a sellable asset. And so I think that's an even bigger opportunity. So I would pick one of those skills to begin learning, and there might be a few others that I'm forgetting about that, like, maybe they'll come back to me and I'll drop a ping in Discord. Those are the skills that I'm the most bullish on. And again, I really like no-code development because you can start off as a freelancer, build it for other people, get some cash in the door, and then you can either scale as an agency or go build your own software and already know how to build it. And so then capital, right? We are gonna go freelance for anywhere from 6 to 12 months. Your goal is to put 6 to 12 months of runway in the bank account, however much that is for you. You might be able to do it faster. If you have 6 to 12 months of runway in the bank account, now you can take a little bit of risk, right? You're like, okay, like I've got 6 months to figure it out, or I've got 12 months to figure it out. Like, let's make it happen. And then you graduate into a business model that's a little bit more leveraged. So instead of you being a freelancer and selling your time for money, now you maybe scale as an agency and you sell other people's time for money. And now your margin, your profit margin dips a little bit, but now the opportunity to scale increases. So when you're freelancing, you know, maybe you probably tap out somewhere in between $5,000 to $10,000 a month. Like, you're probably not gonna make a whole lot more than that as a freelancer. Now as an agency, your profit margin goes down, but now you can get to 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, 200. You can scale an agency really far. And you can brute force an agency to like a 7-figure a year run rate. And it doesn't get until it's then, honestly, that you really need to emphasize on like systems and teams. And I'll probably talk about that in a whole different video because that's a whole tangent. But so now we're gonna either go into an agency model, or maybe you can start a software at this point, but honestly, it may be better if you continue like with high cash flow. So you might want to go the agency route, or maybe some sort of like consulting done with you hybrid offer. Hold on, let me get a sip of coffee. But you want to keep your cash flow high, and, you know, keep stacking cash, whatever. And honestly, maybe you can do both. I don't think starting an agency and starting your own software is ridiculous to say by any means. So you're going to graduate into a more scalable business model. So basically, just to give you a basic rundown, if we're doing this whole no-code development thing, you need to find no-code development people under you. So you need to do quality control, and then you need to basically focus. So now that they're going to take care of the fulfillment part. So now you need to focus on lead generation and closing deals. So that's how you're going to grow the business. And how do you, so then how do you grow the business? You focus on top of funnel traffic. So more focusing on putting out more content, more cold emails, more outbound DMs getting sent, and tracking these metrics. And there's going to be a separate video on how to properly plan to hit your goals. But so now you're just focusing on increasing your top of funnel traffic and measuring the appropriate key performance indicators to hit your end goal, and then keeping an eye on fulfillment, putting quality control and processes in place, stuff like that. So that's how you're going to scale at that point. And then audience. So when you're putting out content online, it is a funnel. So you've probably heard of this funnel if you're interested in the online business world at some point. So basically, a funnel is like, right? It's like wide at the top, and it like narrows down like this, right? And so your social media is a funnel, and because of that, you need to be, when no one knows who you are, the only goal of your videos should be to cast a wide net to try to go viral, so that way people can know who you are. And so your top of funnel videos have to have viral potential. So what are your viral videos? Your viral videos are going to be like when you name drop someone, when you say something slightly controversial, not in an ignorant way, but it's like when I said Iman shut down his agency to go all in on SaaS, that was like slightly controversial because people were like, no, he shut down his agency for this reason, or he did it for this reason. People just started arguing about it, right? And if you guys haven't known, the amount of people that have ripped that exact video of mine, if you remember it, like, dude, that video has probably done hundreds of millions of views online across all the people that have ripped it. It is crazy. But so name dropping videos, how to do X in 3 steps, how to do X without Y, all of these always do well. You want to think about whatever you're talking about, you need to dumb it down so anyone can understand. If you go back and you look at my old top of funnel videos, I'm not saying any niche software terminology. I'm not saying like MRR. I'm not saying churn. I'm not saying like CAC, like cost to acquire a customer. Like, I'm not saying these nitty gritty things because these people don't even know what that is yet. They don't even know what SaaS is yet. They don't know what no-code SaaS is yet. So the goal of my top of funnel content was make people know who I am and convince them that software is the best business model. Okay, so right now everyone out there, they don't know about software. So they either think agency, e-com, affiliate marketing, sales, copywriting. They think one of those is the best business model. I need to convince them that software is the best business model through my top of funnel content. Once I convince them of that, they're gonna follow me because they're like, oh, this guy's right. He made a good point. He's talking about software. I'm gonna follow him. I can't just keep telling them then software is the best business model. They're like, okay, I get that. Now, how do I start a software company? Now you make your middle of funnel content. This is where you get to show your expertise, and this is where you're gonna turn people that are followers into people that are actually gonna like trust you and wanna buy from you. And so this is like your tutorials. This is like, and your like how-tos, like how to price your software company, how to know which no-code builder to use. Here's how to get your first customer. Here's how to write an email to reduce churn. Like these are like the actionable videos that are super valuable that people are like, wow, this guy knows his stuff, okay? And so that's this. And then your bottom of funnel is your call to actions. So this is like if I make a reel that tells people to click the link in my bio for a free event or to book a call. Or if I put up a story post and I say, hey, join this email list, or book a call if you want to work with my dev agency, stuff like that. So that is how you build an audience. You have your top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel audience, videos, and they all serve a purpose. And so until you're at like 10, 20,000 followers, only focus on top of funnel videos. And then once again, no, you don't need a fancy camera, you don't need fancy editing to go viral. That is how you build an audience. And then the network kind of like does itself. Like I never go about my day of like, oh, I need a network today. It happens very naturally when you have the first three. When you have skills, when you have capital, when you have an audience, it kind of just like naturally happens of like, you know, you have a video do well, someone reaches out to you, you know, you have capital, you see this guy's that you really like launches a mastermind, you join it. You know, you have a skill, you see someone that you like is looking for someone with that skill, you reach out. So it happens very naturally. Like I've never gone out and been like, oh, like I'm gonna network. The one thing that I will say that you can do is just like have like a dream 10 people maybe to have in your network and build like a very genuine relationship with them in like DMs or something. I did this with the guy that ended up becoming a business partner at Closify. And you're never like asking them for it. Like the worst thing you could ever do with someone that you want to like have in your network is ask them for something. Like if anything, like you're gonna be giving. But I would just reach out to him and I would be like, hey, like I watched your podcast and since then I've like made my first 100K online. And he would like the message and like say like good job, whatever. And I would just continuously like update him and try to build a relationship with him and keep him up to date with what I was doing. And so I, you know, wish him happy holidays. You know, he posts a win on his story, but like, let's go, congratulations, that's amazing. And this is like all genuine. I'm not like doing this. I wasn't doing this because I was like, oh, I hope I'm like in this guy's network one day. Like I really liked and looked up to the guy. So I was, you know, genuinely congratulating him and stuff. And then one day I was like, hey, your videos really helped me. I finally, you know, left school and I just launched this software company and it was Closify. And he was like, I told him about it. He's like, oh, this is a really good idea. I want to come on board. And he ended up becoming a business partner of mine. And opening a lot of doors. He opened a lot of doors for me. He introduced me to a lot of people. He taught me a lot of the stuff that I know about business. So it all happens and unfolds very naturally. And so that's like how you can, you know, your action steps after this video would be start to get really good at a skill, which is what this Discord is going to be for. It's going to be for all of these things. But yeah, the decision that, or the thing that I'll leave you with, because I was thinking about this yesterday, is if you guys know what the butterfly effect is, it is basically how like one small decision that you made some time ago can have this ripple effect months, days, years down the road that you look back and like, wow, all of this stemmed from that one little decision that I made. And for me, I bought this like $15, $20 ebook in 2020. That was what got me kickstarted in online sales. And that stemmed to all of this because that led me to do sales and sales agency, recruiter, Closify, moved to Miami, business partner, all of this, okay? So I want you guys to think about that and, you know, you guys could have that moment, you know, whenever you make the decision to actually start. So whatever you've been procrastinating, whatever you've been putting off, like this is your sign to start today and you never know when it might be like that butterfly moment for you guys. So I hope you guys like this video. I'll do more of these. I'll catch you guys in the next one.